think for most of the people watching this video, and of course myself included, we all have that one watch. You can call it a grail watch if you want, and some people might think of it as their end game piece. Whatever the case is, it's the watch that's been at the top of your list but hasn't made it to your collection just yet. It might be that it hasn't found its way into your watch box because of the cost, or maybe because of the availability or the rarity of the watch. Now, whatever the case is, it's the one watch that you keep coming back to and it keeps your attention. It's the watch that someday you absolutely have to have it. For me, it's this watch, the Rolex GMT Master II Pepsi. It's a watch that I've had on the channel in the past, and thanks to my friends at Exquisite Timepieces, I'm able to revisit it today. So a big thanks and shout out to them for loaning me this watch from their pre-owned inventory for this video. You guys should definitely go over to their website, exquisitetimepieces.com, check them out, and look at their giant selection of both new and pre-owned watches. Now, before we take a closer look at this watch, a quick bit of news. Today's video includes a Rolex giveaway. And yeah, that's right, a Rolex giveaway. Kind of. No, we aren't giving away this watch, but we do have the next best thing. The phenomenal artist InkDial has offered to give away one of his prints of the GMT Master II Pepsi, and entering the giveaway is going to be super easy. First, just leave a comment down below in this video with the hashtag InkDial. Then second, go over and follow at InkDial over on Instagram. I'll leave a link down in the description in case you can't find his Instagram page, but it'll be super easy. And then probably in about a week or two, I'll pick a winner and I will announce that in a future video. So make sure that you are, of course, subscribed here and that you have notifications turned on so you don't miss it. Something I love about this watch is, of course, all of the technical features, such as the screw-down trip-lock crown and 100 meters of water resistance, the bi-directional 24-hour graduated bezel with ceramic bezel insert, the scratch-resistant sapphire crystal, and of course, the caliber 3285 in-house Rolex movement. All of those features and more lend itself to being a durable and reliable watch that's really meant to stand the test of time. And that's something that I really like about Rolex watches in general. Stylistically, and of course this is subjective, it could be something that's debated from one person to the next, but at least for me, I think this watch looks absolutely amazing. Maybe it's a subconscious association with other things that I just really love, but the blue and the red bezel motif just hits home for me. I grew up with, Superman and Spider-Man comics and drinking Pepsi out of glass bottles. And maybe, just maybe, the aesthetic brings me back to a simpler time and it reminds me that sometimes life can just be good. I don't know, but for whatever reason, whenever I see this watch in person, everything just looks right. Now, don't get me wrong, I do own and I really love the Submariner. And I don't imagine that I'd ever get rid of that watch. And if someone asked me to trade the Submariner straight up for the GMT Master Pepsi, I really don't think I would do it. But that doesn't mean that I necessarily like it better, it just also holds a special place in my heart as well. However, I suppose, if I was in the situation where I had neither and I had an opportunity to get one or the other, but of course not both, what would I do? Well, that would be a tough one, and depending on the day that you asked me, you might get a different answer. Suffice to say, if I was going to have two and only two watches in my collection, these would be the perfect pair for me. So how is it on the wrist? Well, in my opinion, pretty close to perfect. Even on a smaller wrist like mine at 6 3/4 inches, it doesn't feel too large and perhaps wears even slightly better than the Submariner does. The Jubilee bracelet is one of the more comfortable bracelets on the market, and in terms of how it feels and how it presents on the wrist, there's really nothing that I would change. I couldn't be happier with it. Speaking of the bracelet and the clasp, obviously it all starts with the lugs and the superbly sculpted solid end links, which, being in the Jubilee style, probably account for why I feel like the watch wears a bit better on the wrist than the Submariner. The Sub and its Oyster bracelet have T-shaped end links, which give a better sense of presence of the watch head on the wrist, but this bracelet, it does the opposite. making the watch feel scaled back just a little bit, and honestly for me that's a good thing. Beyond the end links, the Oyster Steel Jubilee bracelet with its 5-piece link configuration is a masterpiece of design and engineering. The 2 outer link edges are brushed, with the 3 inner links finished in a high polish. And like I mentioned, it plays a big role in giving this watch a timeless and a classic look. And it's one of the many aspects about the watch that I do really love. Now the clasp is of course the folding oyster lock safety clasp, and in keeping with the theme from the bracelet, it features a polished center with brushed edges, and of course, it has the Easy Link extension system. Now, I guess it's a better to have it and not need it type of situation, but at least for my mileage, I never found the Easy Link all that useful. It opens the bracelet up by 5mm, and for my uses, that's just too much adjustment. I never need to let out my bracelet by that much. And this is, in my opinion, one of the spots where the Submariner is objectively better. The glide lock adjustment on the Submariner moves in 2mm increments, and I find that much more usable. But like I said, better to have it and not need it, I suppose. And of course, there are several 2mm micro adjust points inside the clasp as well, but you do need a tool to make those adjustments. Now, one of the hallmarks of this watch model is, of course, its ability to track multiple time zones using the additional GMT hand and the 24-hour graduated rotating bezel. The bidirectional bezel rotates smoothly, and the bezel edge has just enough bite to give a reassuring grip when making those adjustments. The red 24-hour GMT hand can be rotated into position and be set to a reference like your home time, or any time zone that you want to keep constant track of, and then, while the watch is running, you can offset the main hour hand to represent the time at your current location. It is a great complication for the person who travels frequently or who just wants to keep track of the time somewhere else in the world for reference. Like all of the products in the Rolex lineup of sports watches, the dial and handset have glow-in-the-dark luminescence. So while the watch face is of course super legible in broad daylight, it's also easy to read in low light and in darkness, so long as the lume has been sufficiently charged up. Overall, the fit and finish on these watches are great. It's not finished to the level of an ultra high-end luxury watch, it's a bit more utilitarian than that, but the brushing is smooth and it's even, and the polishing is like that of a mirror. It's done to a level that puts forward a high level of quality without giving off an ostentatious or pretentious display. It does, after all, have a heritage of being a tool watch, and while a tool watch can be both functional and look nice, it doesn't give you any more than you need in terms of decorations, and that's something that I think looks nice. So, will I get a GMT Master II Pepsi one day? I don't know, I'd like to, and maybe with a little luck at some point it will be in the cards. But today definitely isn't that day, and honestly that's okay. Having a watch on your grail list, having something to hunt, and something that you always feel like is just out of reach isn't necessarily a bad thing. It keeps us interested in the hobby of watch collecting. It gives us something to look forward to, and it represents the hope that we can set goals and that one day we can achieve those goals. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to head over to exquisitetimepieces.com for all of your new and pre-owned watch purchases. They're a great group over there, and without them, I wouldn't have the opportunity to make videos like this. Now, if you do end up calling them and talking watches, let them know that you heard about them from Guy over at the JustBlueFish channel so that we can keep making these videos with them. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below with the hashtag InkDial to enter the giveaway and get a chance to win the beautiful GMT Master print, and of course, hit the link in the description to follow him on Instagram. Now, with all of that said, I'm gonna wrap this video up, so have a great day and see you again soon. Thanks and bye now.